This is the 75th convention of the Louisiana School Boards Association, and we are very happy to be here. All of our members are here. This is the highest attendance that we've had at an LSBA convention in recent times that I can remember. There are a number of issues facing school boards across the state. As you know, right now, we are waiting as an association. The Louisiana Supreme Court will be hearing the school board members' case regarding Act 2 of the Louisiana legislature. We just got word today that the teachers union that filed suit against Act 1, that the judge in that case ruled in favor of the teachers, and in doing so also ruled in favor of the board, because school boards across the nation under that act had been powers that was given to the school boards were taken away and given to school superintendents, who are appointed by boards and not elected by the people. So in addition to that, there are a number of other issues that we're dealing with, issues such as unfunded mandates from the Department of Education, the MFP issues. There are serious issues that we have with the MFP and adequately funding educational programs through the MFP. And so there are a lot of issues that we have out there. And to compound those issues, the federal government at this time, as you know, is involved with the sequestration, which compounds that, because we have a lot of compensatory programs such as Title I and other programs that are funded through the federal government that at this particular time are up in the air, and it's going to be difficult for us to determine what's going to happen to those programs that are very, very needed for children in this state.
Funding is a major serious issue, almost to the point of crisis in many school districts due to lack of funding, anticipated reduced funding at the state level, and the overall national economy. The provision in the MFP that requires a 2.75% increase annually is not going to be exercised this year for the 5th year in a row. The Bessie Board has the option to not include that 2.75 increase in the resolution. And obviously, after 4 years of no inflationary increases, school districts are really struggling to make things meet basic needs for students.
What kind of an impact does this have in the classroom?
What local school boards have to do is make serious decisions as far as the prioritization of dollars. Oftentimes, districts around the state are preparing for reductions in force, increased class sizes, reduction in services, school closures in the more extreme areas where they're struggling financially. There are actual plans to close schools in some districts across the state in order to reduce funding.
Mandates that are coming out of the legislature, acts that are coming out of the legislature with no previous piloting of the programs, throwing all these laws into one law and then trying to tell us to decipher them to see how they come out. I think what the biggest thing is the scare that the teachers are having to go through, the anxiousness, the not knowing what's going to be next. These teachers have gone through so many reforms, so many changes in the past 20 years that they're getting tired of being accused of being lazy, ineffective, money hungry, greedy. So those are all the concerns that face us.
I really believe it's the MFP. You know, we're all concerned about budget and financing and all the different changes that's bringing because of this. So this is one of the factors that's influencing our district, and of course it has been for a long time, so we're anxious to see how that's going to follow through.
Some of the issues facing our school system is finance. That's always something that boards are facing, not having enough money, cuts and all of that, and trying to maintain our teachers and keep their morale up.
What would you like to see happen in this session of the legislature?
In this session of the legislature, I would like to see some changes in some of the proposals and policies that have gone through, and maybe some of those that's really affecting public education, maybe they would be repealed.
MFP funding that the state does not provide for us with the increases that should be ours each year, and maintaining the level of services that we should be that we have currently in place without additional funds each year. Teacher frustration that with all the new programs that the state is implementing with limited state support, technology and facility upgrades that are needed, but we have limited funds from the state to do that. We have a lot of unfunded mandates that we are having to try to provide funds for, which again takes money out of the classroom. Increased retirement costs to the retirement systems with no assistance from the state. Teacher retirements, as far as teachers wanting and are retiring, flight issues of teachers and things like that.
What we'd like to have is that the state reinstitute the 2.75 growth for our budget in the MFP. Also, we would like to have the state look into the fact that of the unfunded mandates that the school systems, if they replace a person, if they do not replace a person, that they still have to provide the penalty for that person not being replaced. And that equates to quite a bit of money for some school system. Also, we need the help with the voucher program. The voucher program is really hurting our school district as it is other school districts throughout the state. We want the state to realize that local funding that is dedicated for special projects should not be used by the state a part of the MFP, because these funds were dedicated, voted on by the constituency to enable us to do some of the work and institute some of the programs that we have within our school district. These are some of the things that we wish the state would help us with. Also, with the part that we have to pay for the employees' benefits to the state, as far as the retirement system goes. Now it goes up to 27%, which is quite a bit of money that my district will have to pay in excess of over $3 million just for the excess into the funding for that program. So these and other things, and the LA4 program we need help with. We need help with many of the other programs also that's crucial to the benefit of our students here in the state of Louisiana.
When the convention is over, what would you like people to keep in mind about the importance of public education in Louisiana?
Well, what we'd like for people to realize is that in public education, we are charged with the responsibility of providing education for every student, not only a few hand-picked or chosen one that are cherry-picked to educate. We have to educate each and every child in the state of Louisiana, regardless of what their exceptionalities are, and regardless of what their handicaps are, etc. We have to educate them all. We cannot cherry pick. It's mandated that we do that, and that's exactly what we do.
We are out of money. The state is not really doing what they say they're supposed to do. So we're behind with funding. We have a lot of mandates that the local system cannot afford, but we are doing the best to work with the state and trying to come to some agreement so we can have these programs and serve our kids, but give them the best quality of education we can give them.
We've had to have some reduction in force, some cutbacks, and these are the things that we hope that we can continue to maintain the standard of education for our students.
We have seen in essence a struggle that is perhaps a misnomer when it's referred to as education reform. The coalition of the status quo, I believe, is the way that it is referred to here by the governor. How incredible is that? How incredible is that? That your superintendents, your principals, your teachers who for years have worked to reform education, to go from the one-room schoolhouse, the factory model type of education, to the kind of education that we offer our children today, which by the way, is the best education that this country has ever seen. That's not to say that it's the best education we want it to be, but when you look at all the benchmarks in education, when you look at third, fourth, eighth grade performance on NAEP exams in reading and math, you see that those scores are the highest today that they've ever been. When you look at the dropout rate, you see the dropout rate today is the lowest it's ever been. The graduation rate from high school is the highest it's ever been. The college going rate, it's the highest that it's ever been. All of these benchmarks that we look at tell us that American education today is the best that it has ever been. That's a long cry, though, from where we want to be. Because in spite of those benchmarks, the reality is that half of our African American students, half of our Latino students, the majority of our students in poverty are failing. In the wealthiest country in the world, with the greatest resources in the world, we have children in America today that are failing. And that's the mission. And that's what we should be focusing on. But what's happening is that the schools that are failing are in essence defining all of public education. Thus, every school in America has to make adequate yearly progress or not, following rules and regulations that we know are ridiculous. Because by 2014, every school in America will be failing. None of them will be making adequate yearly progress, for reasons that have nothing to do with quality of education, but just the statistical factors. There's no such thing as every student in America being above average. It can't happen. Average means that half are over and half are under. But that's the policy that we seem to be following. We have people that have gotten into the reform agenda in education that are not educators, and they seem to know or think that they have the answer. They know what's best for our kids, never having been in a classroom. There was a study that was done not too long ago by the Times, I think, the New York Times, that showed that all of these individuals that are branded as reformers in education never spent a single day of their lives in a public school. They're all a product of private schools. And so what we see is a proliferation of programs that are basically attempting to steal public dollars to enhance the pocket of private companies, whether it be charter schools, management schools, as if we had all the resources in the world, as if we had enough money that we could give it away. The message here is local control. Right now we're faced with a great deal of intrusion into school district affairs on the part of the federal government and to some extent the states. And it's critical that local boards of education and superintendents work together to reestablish local control. It's the community school districts at the local level that decisions ought to be made affecting the education of our children. We're beginning to lose that. We're beginning to look at the establishment of Congress as a national board of education, the secretary potentially as a national superintendent of schools, and we need to regain local control of our schools.
As you know, public education has been around a very long time, and I'm a product of public education, and I do feel that it means that we have the ability to give to all children the right to a good education. And public education is one that's always been there. It should always stay.
I want the public to know that public education is live, it is for real. We have quality educators, teachers, and all. We're here to educate the entire child, the whole child, and it's not about self, it's about doing the things to make Louisiana a better state as educationally-wise.
Boards are the local access or the local governance of your school system. They are your contact at your local level in order to provide your services. If you did not have a local official knowing what your system needs in your area and implementing that for you, then you would have to go to Baton Rouge to get somebody to address your issues, and that doesn't necessarily work very well.
Public education is not dead. I get a little tired of this expression that the state is going to take over your school. Well, what's the state doing taking over a school that it already owns? So if there was a problem with that school, why didn't the state do something about it years ago? Why didn't the state come in and say, let's do something about it, rather than turn it over to a private individual, a private company, instead of turning it over to people who know what's in education, knows what education's all about?
Public education has been the backbone of this country. People who are involved in the business community and every walk of life in this country, it was founded upon the principles of public education and giving everybody the right to an education and to a quality education. We're going to be, during this conference, putting together a legislative package that will be going to the legislature. We'll be asking the citizens of this state to support many of those things that we will be bringing to the citizens and asking their support on, and legislators throughout the state. And those issues range from issues regarding the minimum foundation program to issues regarding unfunded mandates on down the line.
The level of enthusiasm is very encouraging. We have the largest participation that we've had in several years by membership attending the conference. We also are very proud to say that we have a high number of superintendents that are here as well. Several stakeholders are here to collaborate and focus their efforts on how to be better advocates for public education.